Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is our Arise News analyst, Emmanuel Efeni, the great Malabite. Good morning, Emmanuel.
Ruben. Good morning, Rufai.
Good morning, sir.
Yes. Good morning, Victoria Tundu MQ Abiola. Yes, let's start the review straight away with this day, Nigeria's newspaper of record. The lead story, Buhari to Shettima. I will hand over to you and your boss in 2023, God willing. Optimistic APC's Muslim ticket will win presidential poll. I remain committed to selection choice. Tinubu insists. Can disown bishops who attended Shettima's unveiling. Yes, the president expressing confidence there at that the presentation of the running mate of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Kashim Shettima, Senator Kashim Shettima. Of course, other newspapers are reporting this story, and let's look at how other papers are reporting the story. The Guardian newspaper, Buhari endorses party's Muslim ticket. Confident of 2023, Shettima assures he won't serve Islam, Hausa Fulani Kanuri interest as VP. Can disown bishops who grace Shettima's unveiling. Protesting APC members storm party secretariat. Abe toes Jibrin's part, abandons APC for greener pastures. Amechi denies plan to dump APC, knocks Abe. While the Nation newspaper reporting this story, Tinubu on Shettima, I have made hard best choice. APC's presidential candidate says 2023 poll a must win. I won't be vice president to Muslims. Let's join hands with candidate for victory, says party chair. Buhari sure of victory. Yes, there's a quote there. This chapter in our nation's history demands a bold yet pragmatic approach. In selecting Senator Shettima, I have committed myself to this part. I have made the hard choice because I believe it is the best choice. Yes, that's Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu justifying his pick of a fellow Muslim as running mate. Yes. Now, the Vanguard newspaper, Muslim ticket, I've heard you, but I believe in Shettima. Tinubu tells critics. Tinubu consulted Buhari APC before settling for Shettima, says Adamu. I was chosen because of threats ahead. Shettima says rational citizens in support of our joint ticket. So those who are opposed are irrational. I hope that is not what he's saying. God willing, you are going to win. Buhari tells Shettima. Drama as pastors, bishops attend Shettima's unveiling. Can PFN disown bishops at Shettima's unveiling? Yes. Ruben, you call them unknown bishops, while Rufai was calling them, what did you call them, Rufai? But I think this is a classical case of dressing people in borrowed robes, because they are not unknown bishops, because these people don't have any parish or whatever anywhere. See, if you follow trends on the social media, some of them have been unveiled for whom they are. Yes, Rufai.
The APC has reacted.
Yes, say
I
what?
think Byron Onanuga said, you see, he said they are not yet known, they are up-and-coming bishops, you know, and they are against hatred, they are against what is happening in society, that they support the unity and development of the country. In fact, he had a worded statement. Let me just, read some parts of that statement.
Rufai, what's the meaning of upcoming bishops?
Yeah, he said they have not yet hit national prominence. Maybe they are not televangelists. He said we are well aware that the opposition parties and sponsors of social media charade are threatened by intimidating political credentials of our candidates. We only hope that with swift attention we will do this. And they said the church leaders who genuinely believe that Nigerians must eschew politics of hatred, religious bigotry, and rather embrace politics of peace and nation building. They want to say that the clergymen were not fake, they were not mechanics, they were not yam sellers or purveyors of hatred.
Yes.
They are not big names in Christendom yet, so they are upcoming. They are gradually building up their missions.
Rufai, who signed that?
Bayo Ononuga, Director, Media and Communication.
Okay. I think I expect something better from our colleague, senior colleague there, Bayo Ononuga. But again, that's political writing. That's not journalistic writing. So I won't castigate him on any ground. But clearly, the effort to bring, quotes, bishops to that occasion, I can tell you, has backfired, because you don't dress people in borrowed robes, then you come and present them as bishops. It's an insult to those clergymen who do their job as bishops, for you to just pick some people from nowhere who don't even know how to wear the robe they are dressed in, the borrowed robe. Even when you are dressed in borrowed robe, you learn how to wear it properly, though it's borrowed. But in this case, they don't even know how to wear it, as the CAN spokesman has clearly identified. Look, it's not looking good.
But the letter was signed on June 21, 2022.
Yes, signed, that's today's date.
June 21, 2022.
Oh, June 21, July 21. Okay, a lot wrong with that letter anyway. So let's just leave that letter over. But of course, they have to respond because of the impact of that attempt to dress unknown persons in the robes of bishops. They don't. It shows another lack of respect for the Christian religion. You don't do that. You don't do that. But Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has picked his running mate. He's sticking by it, and of course, Nigerians who have spoken against this, that it is not a good response to the period we live in, the sensitivity of these times, and the reality of the Nigerian state as a secular state. So if people want to continue justifying it by dressing some persons in borrowed robes, so be it. But of course, the Nigerians at the end of the day, the electorate will vote for whom they want to vote for whatever reasons, either on grounds of ethnicity, religion, or some people even vote for Dibo Sebe, which is, as we saw in Ekiti. So just that. But of course, Shettima has been unveiled. It's well known. It took some time to unveil it. Ruben, I know you want to say something on that.
Yes, if you can hear me. Yes, I've also seen that statement by Mr. Bayo Ononuga. His key point there is that the unveiling of the vice presidential candidate was an open event. In other words, that anybody could come there, including aspirational bishops. But people have gone on social media to query some of those pictures. One of the pictures showed, in fact, that one of the persons wearing a bishop's attire is a member of the party, an APC person somewhere, who in real life is not a bishop anywhere. A lady was shown as a bishop, also dressed like one. And the statement has been put out also by some other observers that there are only 4 female bishops in Nigeria today, and that woman in that picture is not one of them. Well, maybe what Mr. Ononuga is saying invariably is that this is an open event. Anybody can wear whatever he likes to the place. And well, should that be surprising? Isn't this the same country where a lot of people go and sew police uniforms? And they parade themselves as policemen. People even wear soldiers' uniforms, and they go about calling themselves Major General. Yes, and it's not all of these people that you would find out. But the important thing is that the Christian Association of Nigeria has said, none of these persons here, is known to us. We don't know them. They are not one of us. And that this is rent a crowd, the same way Nigerians rent policemen, rent soldiers, and rent people to serve their own purpose. But in any case,
no, in fact, if you say they are rented,
comedy has been staged.
It's like they have a party somewhere, they went there to rent them. They are not even rented. These are just people who were dressed in borrowed garb. They are not rented. Because you say they're rented, it means these people have a party somewhere. They were paid to come. They don't have any parish anywhere.
Well, I use the word rented. I use the word rented because they ended up in the car park and people filmed them, videoed them trying to share money. The question that has been raised, by those who are saying that these persons have committed a sacrilege, is that could anybody have tried this with some other religion in Nigeria? You go and dress up like, a cleric of a certain category. Will you not get yourself into trouble? But perhaps, it's not just the party that is desperate. It is also that many Nigerians are also desperate, and they will impersonate anything that will put food in their stomach. But Mr. Ononuga has done his job as spokesperson of the party. I'm not too sure that many persons are convinced, that these persons are not mechanics or, area boys or, some party members staging a version of a Nollywood movie. That was a Nollywood movie, in my view.
Ruben, what would have ordinarily been a presentation we should be appreciating, because up till yesterday, we've talked enough about this Muslim ticket. I thought you would have just presented this guy, the Senator Kashim, and move on. But why adding this drama? Ruben, maybe they know you will talk about subtext, so they had to add the pastor aspect to it, the bishop aspect, so that you have some subtext to talk about. And we're talking about it now. Let's move on, Ruben. Now, the Daily Sun newspaper, I'll just gloss over the lead story, the Daily Sun newspaper. ASU, federal government declared NFC's proposed solidarity protest illegal. Says aviation workers threat to join strike. Security risk. Presidency denies giving Adamu 2 weeks to end strike. Ngige refused alleged Buhari's order to hands off negotiation. I thought we heard those clear instructions, but all we want to hear is that this issue with ASU has been resolved one way or the other, so that our students can go back to school. Whether they are dropping Ngige, whether Adamu, who had been missing in action, is now the main man to bring solution to this crisis, this strike, to bring it to an end. We just want this strike to come to an end. After all, as Yorubas will say, just let the ejo die. That's the snake. Whether the man sees the snake, the woman kills the snake, it doesn't matter. Whether it's Ngige or Adamu, let's just have a solution and let the strike end. 6 months and counting. Now, if we just look at the foreign newspapers quickly, the Times of London, Sunak, pick me or lose power. The Times of London, that's Rishi Sunak. Yesterday, yes, that number was trimmed to the final 2. Liz Truss, now the number 2. And of course, there will be that face-off. Yes.
Doctor's trying to respond, I think.
Yes, Dr. Bati, you want to say something?
No. I was going to ask you that Yoruba you were speaking. What Yoruba accent is that? Is that from Owode local government?
Well, I read some Yoruba in
primary school. Arepo Yoruba.
It's not that bad. It's the idea that it's necessary.
I know.
Rufa is endorsing me that he will give me 65%.
No, I'll give you 65, 70%. It's not that bad.
I was laughing.
At least we got the idea.
In Lagos, we speak English stroke Yoruba as Yoruba. You know that. Now let's just continue with the foreign newspapers quickly. Now, Liz Truss seem to be having the advantage, according to the Daily Telegraph newspaper, advantage Truss in the race to be PM. Yes, Foreign Secretary, the favorite to defeat Sunak after Tory MPs vote her into final 2. Yes. Now, are they talking of advantage? Blow, hustings are Rishi Sunak's time to shine. But before the debate, the tickets will have gone out and members of the Tory members perhaps will have returned their votes even before the debate. So the opportunity for Rishi Sunak to outshine Liz Truss may just come too late. That's what this report is saying. But I was hoping to see two women, Liz Truss and Penny Mordaunt, but again, that never happened. After a strong showing, Penny Mordaunt did not make it to the final two. So now, Rishi Sunak versus Liz Truss, who will become the occupant of number 10 after Boris Johnson. That is the question. Tundu, I know you would like to intervene on that.
Thank you, Mr. Fenny. I think with Penny Mordaunt, yes, she had momentum, but faltered when a lot of the right-wing media started to attack her, especially on her record on that transgender row, and then she started to backtrack. Then they called her a liar, and it was really extraordinary to see her boss go on live TV and say she lacks capacity to do the job. He basically finds her somewhat vacuous, and he said it publicly. So really, that was just the final nail in her coffin.
That was a defining
moment. I'm not really surprised. It was always going to be Rishi. Yeah, it was always going to be Rishi Sunak versus whoever. And now it's Liz Truss, who also is another person who's been accused of being something of a lightweight. But it does appear that the establishment, the all-important establishment, is backing her. So he has his work cut out. It also appears that he's facing a lot of resistance. This is Rishi Sunak, because he's perceived as having stabbed Boris Johnson in the back. And, you know, he had this really nice campaign video, which I'm sure he paid a fortune for, which he can well afford. But that campaign video might backfire on him, because people go on about the slickness of his campaign and how he was clearly preparing from a long time before, meaning that he had these ambitions. And that's really, there's a dim view taken of all of that. But it's just interesting to see, to a point that you made earlier in the show, Rufai, the British Prime Minister does not necessarily swear an oath on the Bible or on anything. You will recall Alistair Campbell saying, "We don't do God." Alistair Campbell, Tony Blair's strategist. In British politics, it's actually in poor taste to brandish your religion and quote the Bible. Even in broadcasting, it's just not a done thing. In public life, it's not done. You can make a little reference, but it's really frowned on to use religion as to sort of show your piety. It backfires spectacularly at the polls. There is no legal office of the British Prime Minister. You know their constitution is not codified. It's whoever wins, the party that wins the general election, the leader of that party is invited by Her Royal Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, as it is now, to form the government, which is why we have this extraordinary situation where only a handful of people, less than 0.3% of the British population, is now going to choose the British Prime Minister. It's really, I mean, I'm a fan of the parliamentary system, but that's hardly democratic, is it? When like such a small minority gets to shape the country in this fashion, but that's the system over there. So they do swear an oath of allegiance, but it is to Her Royal Majesty Queen Elizabeth II they swear an oath of allegiance to, and that is all 650 MPs take that oath. So when somebody rises from amongst them, Primus inter pares, to become the Prime Minister, that oath has already been taken. You have to swear a separate oath for the Privy Council if you're a Prime Minister, and you don't need to swear on any kind of holy book. Just thought I'd clarify that point about religion and politics.
On the contrary.
So I want to respond to that. So,
Rufai, we may not see the first Prime Minister of Asian descent.
We may and we may not.
We may not.
But the point I was making about religion and politics is the fact that the Church of England holds a very strong position in British national life. It holds a very strong position. And when you look at it, even up till date, there are still provisions made for the Church of England by the government of the state, which is the head of the state is the Queen of England. And that's the point I was trying to make about religion. Thanks, Tundu, for that feedback as regards, you know, they might not necessarily swear oath, they might not swear oath because they swear that oath while they are PMs already, and which Rishi Sunak did swear using the Bhagavad Gita. But religion plays a very important part in state. And I also quoted Olufemi Vaughan's book as regards, religion and making of Nigeria. But going back to what is happening is in England now is the fact that the Boris brigade is strong. The Boris Johnson brigade is strong. And you're seeing that in the outcomes with Liz Truss. They definitely want her there, like you enunciated properly, the fact that a lot of people feel like Rishi Sunak was planning this all this while. And he went straight for the jugulars and all of that. And it was very obvious yesterday when Boris Johnson gave his farewell speech at the Parliament at PMQs, where he said, "Hasta la vista, baby." And you needed to hear the roar from the Conservative Party, and this might be the fight to finish for them, for both of them. But as regards who can do the job, as regards who tells it the way it is, to a large extent, Rishi Sunak has the upper hand. Because when you look at the clear arguments, the Boris brigade that are saying cut taxes at a time like this, it is not just about cutting taxes. It's how you can pay for it. We forget in a hurry that national debt in the UK now is 104.6% of GDP. It was 85% of GDP prior to COVID. They took over 300 billion in debt, and they're still taking more money. And you can see the increases made recently because of that level of debt in England. Look at, they made increases in national insurance because of the level of debt they have. So they're in dire straits, and that's why you're seeing the knock-on effect with cost of living crisis and the likes. And the only way to go is, yes, you might cut taxes sometime in the future, but not now. You need to sustain that government revenue, which the UK collects about 800 billion year on year, or a little more than that in government revenue, to be able to service all the things you need to service, the social services, pay your 150 billion for NHS and the likes, and pay for other social services in England till the economy reflates before you now cut that. And Rishi Sunak is the only one making the argument as we speak today. No other person on that campaign trail is making the argument. Liz Truss is largely, being political and being supported by the Boris Brigade. And for Penny Mordaunt, I mean, it's sad the way it's gone for her, but I think she will find solace in her 4 Burmese cats. Maybe she'll have a good cuddle on the cats and, think about this over and over again and say, yeah, I had a good run, but maybe better luck next time. But I probably will never see better luck next time for her. Dr. Bati.
Probably will never see better luck next time for her.
Well, but whatever happens in the UK, all of that will be determined by the members of the party. And Rishi Sunak's strongest speech is he's saying that he is the man who can beat the opposition in the next general election. But would he be given the chance to do so? Well, we'll begin to see that from Monday, when the blue-on-blue dog fight starts in earnest. And it's going to be a really bitter dog fight. One newspaper this morning was describing Liz Truss as a lightweight, but the same newspaper refers to Rishi Sunak as rich kid, Rishi. Okay, so but we see the choice. Tundu, you were talking about the parliamentary system of government. Well, I mean, shouldn't we even go back to that parliamentary system in Nigeria, which is easier to manage, which appears to be more democratic, and which would address some of the, shenanigans that we see within the political dispensation in Nigeria. Now, to come home, if any, I was going to draw attention afresh to the grid collapsing the 6th time in 2022. Yesterday, 3 times in 3 hours. A country of 200 million people managing about 4,000 megawatts, it dropped to 0 yesterday. And the excuse that we're being given is that it is gas supply. It is management issues at Transmission Company of Nigeria. Well, I don't see how Nigeria can be more productive if we don't have regular electricity supply. Sometimes the excuse is that, some people vandalize the PACN infrastructure, or that, the water level in Kanji has gone down. We need to take a second look at that grid, perhaps decentralize it, perhaps look for other options of energy supply. I think it's very embarrassing that over 200 million people will reach a point where supply will be 0. But it's good that the discourse, apologize and talk to their customers. That's the only thing that I see. But of what use is that apology, is that notice of this continuance of service if this has become a regular development? And all that the authorities tell us is to come up with excuses that nobody does anything about.
But Ruben, coincidentally, yesterday, the Senate passed the electricity bill, which will make it possible for states to generate, distribute electricity. So perhaps when we have more players in the mix, perhaps we'll be getting somewhere there will be ample competition that will. But again, some people are also picked hold in provisions of that electricity bill. I listened to Sam Amadi yesterday night on News Night, and he has some not very kind words for that bill passed by the Senate yesterday. So perhaps we're still groping in the dark, literally speaking, when it comes to fixing the electricity issue.
Well, I'd just like to ask, what's happening to the Siemens deal? Really, because to a large extent, a lot of people felt that this Siemens deal would be able to push the envelope, you know. So what's happening to this Siemens deal that we've been talking about for a while? We're having grid collapses, system collapse here and there. And, you know, we keep hearing there's a Siemens deal on the table. So who's telling us about this deal?
Well, I once suggested that it seemed that deal died with somebody, but maybe not. Maybe not.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.